And we are live. Good evening, homemakers. We are so glad you were able to join us tonight. Welcome back. And for those of you who this is your first live stream, welcome to you also. You know what? Last week we had such a great show. I mean, we really had a great show over on Miss Leona's channel, Life of a Home Cook. And if you were here last week, you know we had a heartfelt conversation about those unexpected moments in life.
Mm-hmm.
Curveballs that throw your routine off, your plans, and even your grace, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say your grace, I guess I should say throw your peace off course. And when your peace is off course, you're not so likely to want to give grace. But we have to think about that too. And judging by the comments and the messages that came in to Miss Leona and myself afterwards, one thing was clear. Many of us are living in what we can call the messy middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's that space where the house isn't spotless, the goals aren't all met, and the energy to catch up just is not there. So tonight we're going to slow it down and we're going to lean in just a little bit. We're going to talk about survival mode, what it means, and also the importance of something you like to really say quite a bit, Miss Leona, is to give yourself grace in these hard seasons, and how even one small thing, a candle lit, a bed made, a
Mm-hmm.
dish washed, can shift the whole atmosphere in your home. So, Miss Leona,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so happy you're here with me again tonight. And as we talk these folks through the various seasons, the middle, survival, and the one small thing, what are your what encouraging words can you offer real quick?
Mm-hmm.
And then what does life look like for you when you're in the messy middle? So, which
Well,
do you want to start with, the encouraging words or the messy
I,
middle?
I think I'll start with the encouraging words, and then it's going to be downhill from there.
Okay.
Well, the reality of it is that we all have those days, and sometimes it's a week. Sometimes it can be even be a month, and
Mhm.
it may seem like it may never end, but the reality of it is that it always does.
It does.
And we get through it. We're able to look back on it and say, "Oh, thank you for
Mhm.
getting me through." And but at that time, it's a tough moment. It's tough.
Overwhelming.
Absolutely. You're exhausted. And it was so funny. I'm going to share this. I know this is something I hadn't told Mr. Denise I was going to say tonight. This morning, I really was in the messy middle. And it dawned on me. I couldn't remember what day it was. I'm having one of those moments. And I thought, I looked down at my phone and I called Miss Denise and I said, and she looks at, oh no, I picked up the phone and she had sent a message. And I'm going, oh, today's Wednesday. And I didn't tell her that we were in the process of relocating. And so we're doing a temporary relocation and we do it every summer. And so anyway, most of the time when I turn on FaceTime, the hair's combed, I'm in my clothes, the works. I picked it up this morning, and I guess she thought, "Oh my gosh, who is
I
that?"
did not. I
Yes,
did not.
she did. She I was a hot mess. I tell you what, she has no idea of how exhausted I was at that point, because
Oh,
it's one of those things of you're trying to get everything done. I am so used to being able to take a day, get it done, everything's done, and I superwoman here. And I tell you what, I just can't get it done. And
life
so
happens. As the young folks say, sometimes life be lifing.
life be life, and the body is not cooperating. And so but that was how we started the day. But the reality of it is that we do have those moments when things are just not perfect. But,
Mhm.
you know, I'm thankful for having a great friend who I can call and be a hot mess. And we just giggle with each other and know that life's going to go on and it will get done. So,
Mhm.
Miss Denise, I'm going to turn it back to you and I'll share the rest of the story later.
Okay. So now, people, let's just real quick, let's just jump in and see who's here. We'll do a little bit of greeting, and then we'll come back and talk about what exactly the messy middle is. But we've got Ann Allen is here. Looking forward to the night show. Ann, we're glad you're
Yeah.
here. Hazel, we're glad you're here. And Stephanie, it is so good to see you today. Molly, Pam at
Yeah.
Duncan Party of Six. Judy, hello. And Stephanie says this week has been that week for her. So
Uh,
Stephanie, we're going to circle back to you in a little bit and we'll talk about like what that looks like for you. So we can come back to you in just a little bit. And then Debbie is saying good evening.
good.
And Charlene is saying hello. Charlene, it's been a while since we've seen you. It's good to see you tonight, baby girl.
Mhm.
And then Emma is finally able to listen to a live. Emma, I hope
Oh,
you're so enthused that you'll come back every week. And
absolutely.
let's see. And then Mado, I'm not sure what Mado is saying. Senora something, and I'm not sure what. But
We'll
anyway,
see.
saying something about hello or something like that. So, all right.
Mhm.
So now let's talk a little bit about what the messy middle is. And, you know, when we talk about what the messy middle is, like I said, you know, it's that time when maybe the dishwasher is full of clean dishes that have been sitting there for 2 days
Mm.
in uploads, which means if the dishwasher has dishes in it for the last 2 days, you've been taking dishes out of the dishwasher to prepare plates and things like that. And then the dirty dishes are going in the sink.
Mhm.
Maybe you started decluttering the closet last weekend, and now all the stuff is either sitting at the foot of the bed, or you've got things piled on a chair, or the boxes for the thrift center are still sitting by the bedroom door.
Mm.
So it could look like that. It could be that dinner is scrambled eggs and toast again, or breakfast for dinner. I love that. I love pancakes and bacon for dinner. My
Mhm.
husband's not such a fan, but I enjoy that. And maybe you folded laundry and it's still in the basket,
Mhm.
or it's still in the dryer. How many of you out there, let's just take a poll, have done laundry, but the laundry is still sitting in your dryer and it needs to be? Oh, all right. I'm not judging. This is a no judgment zone. But I'm just saying, but then again, Leona, you just said you're in the middle.
Yes.
When you're in
Yeah.
the middle, that's what life looks like. So you walk past a mess and you think, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes.
Mm. Mm.
And here's the thing, too, you try to give everyone else grace, but sometimes we forget that when we're in the middle, we need to give ourselves some grace as well. And the thing about being in the messy middle is that for the most part, you are overwhelmed. It's not just by one big thing, but by the weight of everything that is unfinished. So there's so many things. So now, Leona, I'm going to come back to you just because when you said
Mhm.
it's like there were so many things you don't have done, and it's
Mhm.
real easy to see since you just moved on. Was it Sunday?
Tuesday.
You just, oh gosh, today is Wednesday. Yesterday.
Yes.
You just moved yesterday. And
Yes.
so there's so many things that are unfinished. And of course, you expect them to be, but sometimes you're just overwhelmed by the sheer number. Do you want to talk about that? Take a breath.
I'm taking a breath because I tell you what, you know, normally when we transition from one home to the other, the transition's pretty smooth because I try to make sure that I leave this house straight so that
Mhm.
when I come in, I can kind of just walk in. It's a matter of touching things up, dusting, you know, doing those kind of things.
Little
But
grocery
this
shopping.
time, that too.
Mhm.
But this time we came in and I guess in our rush of leaving, we must have hit the wrong switch and turned the refrigerator off.
Now back up just for a second. So
Mhm.
you said you hit the wrong switch, but I don't understand. What are
The
these switches?
fuse, fuse box.
Oh, okay.
And because we have certain things that we normally cut off, when we're not here. So we evidently must have hit the wrong switch. Well, I didn't hit the wrong switch. You know who hit the wrong switch, but that's another story. But anyway, so the wrong switch was hit.
Mistakes
And
were made.
yes. And so when I walked in, I got this smell and I thought, what is that? I know I didn't leave any trash in the house, and opened the refrigerator. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. It was the worst thing ever. There were little creepy crawlies, that's all I'm going to say. And I freaked out. Only to open the freezer
Scream.
portion. And then I really freaked out. And so, oh my gosh, this was like at 1 in the afternoon. Well, last night until 11 o'clock, I literally was taking this refrigerator apart, trying to scrub it down, trying to disinfect it, because it's a brand new refrigerator.
You just got that refrigerator last year, didn't
Last summer. And so, I'm trying to disinfect it and get part. I know I removed parts that probably shouldn't have been removed, but I got it all. I was determined I was going to get it all clean. So I'm pulling and tugging. We're lugging stuff. I'm having to wash in the middle of all this. And I tell you what, I didn't eat, I didn't drink, I didn't anything, because that was the only focus, because all I could think of were what I saw when I first opened that freezer drawer, and trying to clean everything up. I'm in gloves up to here. It was just horrible. And so needless to say, everything else went by the wayside. There were no groceries. There was no menu plan. There was nothing that I had planned to do
you? No
that was
unpacking.
taken care of. All the suitcases were still sitting there. The boxes were still sitting there. The canned goods that I brought from the other house are still sitting on the counter. And so,
So do you feel just a little bit overwhelmed by all of this?
just a tad bit. So I was exhausted. So like I said, when I talked to Miss Denise's, this morning, it was like, oh my gosh, I had all of this stuff to do. And so, it's one of those things where it was one of those situations. It happened. Stuff happens.
It happens.
But I guess I am just at that point where I'm so anal. I wasn't going to sleep until that refrigerator was taken care of. I was determined. And so, talking about the messy middle, when I read what we were planning to talk about, it was like, oh my gosh, how did she know?
At this particular point, real life got real loud.
It was just crazy. So, here I was and exhausted. I had Conway up and down. I had him doing things that he doesn't normally have to do. And he's up and down off ladders. He's doing this, that, and the other. He's running here. I sent him to the grocery store. Boy, was that a mistake. And
No. You needed that support. So
I
how
needed it. And
done.
I needed the quiet, because he was running around behind me. Well, what can I do? And I'm thinking, if I gotta tell you what to do,
I'm thinking, call the insurance company.
that's right. And so but we got it done. I got it done. And so before I went to sleep, everything was there. But it was a hot mess. I was a hot mess. And so you're talking about being in survival mode and being messy. Lord have mercy. I was all of this in one day.
How long was your shower?
Oh gosh. When I got I think I probably scalded myself because I wanted the hottest water I could get. And I just stayed in the shower. It was definitely one of those moments where you just go in the shower and it was like you close the door and just shut it all down and take a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
when it,
you probably still have things to unpack, but you know what? Here's the thing. Just open one suitcase, pretend you're in a hotel, and just take out the things you need
Mhm.
tonight, the things you need tomorrow, and you can unpack gradually. As far as getting those canned goods and things put away, they'll keep in the box you brought them in. So give yourself some grace. Now, we're good at telling our homemakers and our home cooks to give themselves some grace. So, people in the chat, tell Miss Leona she needs to give herself some grace. Normally, you have that S on your chest, but I'm telling you right now, rip it off.
Rip it
Rip
off.
that S right off your chest. Yeah, just do what you can, because it's not that you're not doing nothing. You just can't do it all at once. And like you said, you were exhausted. You don't have the capacity to do it all.
No,
So,
no.
yeah.
And I told Miss Denise I had invited someone to come and give me an estimate for house cleaning
Now
because
that was crazy.
I was so exhausted because I just knew I couldn't clean the house. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna call somebody. I needed that. Well, but then I looked around and thought, oh my God, nobody can come in my house and it looks like this. So I started to clean up before the house cleaner came. Just I didn't want her to see the hot mess. And so there we are.
But see, here's the thing. She would have given you some grace. If you had said, we just arrived yesterday, we are still unpacking. She's a professional cleaner. She
Mhm.
can see around all of that and still evaluate your home. But you know what? That's real. That's real homemaking. I think
Yeah.
we as homemakers, we want people when they come in to be at their best when they come in to
Mhm.
see it. So
Mhm.
okay. Wow. I bet you guys didn't expect that story. So again, tell Miss Leona to give herself some grace. We got to have that over here. She needs to have some grace. So okay. So one of the things that I wanted to mention too is that when we talk about giving ourselves some grace, it's also to remember that it's not that we're not doing anything at all.
Mm.
Do everything. And we have to prioritize what it is we need to do and go from there. So, okay, so now you're in survival mode. We're just going to keep using you as our case study. So, we're moving into survival mode right now. So,
Mhm.
it's the messy middle is where everything feels unfinished
Mhm.
and unsettled. Then, survival mode is what's happening when we stop trying to catch up. We
Yep.
stop trying to catch up. So that's when we're in survival mode. And then just to make it through the day. So when you called the housekeeper, the house
Mhm.
cleaner, you made the decision to stop trying to catch up. You said, I
Yeah.
need some help. You recognized you needed some help and you called someone that could come in and assist you with that, even though you cleaned half the house before they got there.
She did not see one canned good. She did not see one grocery bag. She didn't even see my suitcase unpacked because I stuffed it in a closet. But the reality of it is that yes, I at this point I'm in survival mode
Mhm.
because I have everything to a point where we're able to get around and do the things that we need to do. The house, we're not tripping over the things, because at this point, we're just not at that point where we need to be tripping over anything.
Yeah.
And so, but we have to be able to do that. So my big thing was to make sure that what was most important to me, that I took care of that. So
Mhm.
I did that by calling the cleaning lady
Mhm.
because I knew I couldn't get it done. I just could. I mentally I wasn't ready to do it, and
Mhm.
physically I'm too tired. So
Yeah.
she's going to handle that. And so sometimes we have to be able to give it to somebody else. It may not be something that's, like that. And it
Mhm.
may not be a situation like that. But, I know I don't, I'm tend to be one who doesn't release things easily to someone else,
Mhm.
because even though, I think, well, it's mine, I need to solve it and
Mhm.
I need to do it. And so being able to let go and let someone else do it, that's big for me.
Mhm. Okay. Well, as you were talking about your being in the middle, I was thinking about how sometimes, like for me, what happens when I get in the messy middle, and for me, I overextend myself. I
Mhm.
plan to do too many things and then I get completely overwhelmed and I
Mhm.
don't know which way to go. I don't know what to do first. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, um, how do I get this done in the time frame that I have? And so one of the things that I find is that when I am completely overwhelmed, like I suggested to you, we just have to stop and
Mhm.
take a breath and then prioritize. And on my apron notes, I probably need to send you an apron note. I don't think I have any out over here right now. I will sometimes keep one close by, but um, I'm gonna have to send you an apron note. We've got a couple that speak to when life gets chaotic to just kind of
Mhm.
slow down and focus or set your priorities. And I
Mhm.
had to do that myself the past few days as well. Just
Mhm.
kind of slow it down and say, okay, what's most important? What do I need to do first? What do I need to do second?
Mhm.
And then move forward from there. So let's just kind of see what some of the chat is having to say. So one of the first ones I see is here when Ola says, I couldn't have done that cleaning. That would have been hard. That would have been hard. But you didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
It had to be
It
cleaned out.
had to be done.
And then she also says, will the smell ever leave?
That it was an issue and was even as of this morning. And so I went to YouTube. And YouTube told me what to, there were several people who evidently this has happened to other folks. And YouTube basically said what to do. And I found out that my refrigerator actually has a separate air filter that
Oh,
that you can change.
mhm.
And so we did that as
That was
well
one of
as
the errands that Conway had to run. Go to Menards
absolutely.
or Lowe's and find the filter.
Yep. And but YouTube said to take a dish. Very often you find those baking soda boxes where you can just punch
Yeah.
holes in it. Well, that wasn't it, but you needed a wider surface. So you took the baking soda and spread it out. I also put a dish of vinegar in there as well. But between the two of them and the new air filter, smells just about gone.
Oh, good, good.
So,
Mhm.
and it's spotless. I mean, it's probably cleaner than it was when it came from the factory. I mean, I took things apart. I told you I took things apart and scrubbed things that probably shouldn't have been scrubbed, but that's okay. We just have to deal with it. I felt better.
All right. So we've got, let's see, what is wrong with my clicker today?
Uh-oh. Well, Ola, I see where you said to throw that fridge. I'm not sure. Denise, can you hear? The baking soda. Absolutely. Uh-oh. Give yourself some grace. Okay. 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 I don't know. Denise, can you get me back in?
I needed to put me back in.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize I wasn't in there. Sorry.
That's okay. I thought, okay, can she hear me?
I could hear you. You were talking, and then I thought, well, okay, I'm just talking away, but I guess that's part of the messy middle. Life is happening right while we're
Absolutely.
on live.
Hmm.
So she says, and now the corner of the kingdom, tell us your name. But you say it's hard to
It's
disappoint people.
Kimberly, I think.
Kimberly.
I
Okay.
think it's Kimberly.
And it is hard to disappoint people, but you're wearing so many hats. You have got to feel overwhelmed at times. So, nurse manager, pastor's wife, mom, Grammy, street out.
Wow.
So, can you hear me okay, Leona?
I can. I
Okay.
can. I think her name is Kimberly. I was checking. I think she told us tonight.
But yeah, so you just have to decide. Well, first of all, if you're a nurse manager, that means you're working outside the home. You got two jobs. You're working outside the home as a nurse manager. You're working outside the home as a pastor's wife. You're
Mhm.
working outside the home as an outreach provider. So you got three jobs outside the home.
Yes. Yes.
You got your husband,
Ooh.
and I don't know whether or not you have children still at home, but you got grandchildren that you're trying to at least respond to. So you've got quite a bit. You're going to have to try to set some priorities and
Mhm.
set hard boundaries. You're just going to have to.
Mhm. And
Otherwise, you're going to be running on empty.
and that's for sure. And that's for sure. But I applaud you because I know just being a pastor's wife is tough. And then you add in everything else. Oh my goodness, that's a major task.
Yeah, and so Emma says this talk is just what she needed. She's been in the messy middle since she got married and moved into her parents' house a year ago. Love being with family, but getting the house usable has been a time. Now, Emma, Miss Leona can feel your pain because she just moved in yesterday to her other house, in her
Mhm.
where she, relocates to in the summer. But here's the thing, you're living with family, so you're going to have some boundaries as to what you and your hubby can do and not do.
Mhm.
What's expected of the two of you in this home, because whereas you may be comfortable, it's not your home. You moved
Right.
in with your parents. So there's going to be some things that they do or don't do that, may be just a little bit different for the two of you. You guys
Mhm.
can certainly work it out and fit in, but
Mhm.
it's going to be a test. And then when you say getting the house usable, what does that mean? Does it
Mhm.
mean you brought in a lot of stuff and now you've got clutter on top of what was already in your parents' home? Did you
Mhm.
need to declutter or put some stuff in storage until you guys get ready for your next location? What is
Mhm.
it that you did? Fill us in. And Miss Leona, what do you have to suggest to Emma?
That and the thing about moving into your parents' home, it's uh, it's an emotional issue,
Mhm.
and as much as you're grateful for being in their home, but trying to figure out what you touch and what you don't touch, what you can do, what you can't do, it can be a little stressful, and I'm sure it's stressful for hubby as much as it is for you, and just trying to find your own personal space
Mhm.
of being able to do that. And everybody has suggestions, within the household as to what you should be doing. And so it may be that it may take just a family meeting to kindly, work out, and just say, okay, mom, dad, we're here to help. What can we do? You know, and try to work through that. But you can do it. It's doable. It's doable. And you can certainly did. Oh, Kathy's asking, did I mix the vinegar and the baking soda? No, no. The baking soda has to be in a separate container, like a plate. And then I just literally, they didn't even suggest the vinegar. I thought of the vinegar because it will help to pull
Probably
smell.
just poured it in a bowl and set it in there.
And I just put it in a bowl. And
Oh,
so it's working.
so, Hola thinks you've gone on vacation, but you're not on vacation.
Well, not really. Not really. Yes and no. This is our vacation home. And so we're here during the summer. So
I'm
that's,
back, Stephanie. You're right. I clicked. I don't know what I clicked, but and you are absolutely right. Leona, you've got a great memory. It's Kimberly.
yeah. You know what made me remember? Because Kimberly's my daughter's name. So,
Ah,
uh huh.
okay. All right. Well, I'm going to stop with this part and we're going to get back to this content. But before I do, for those of you that are just joining us, I am Miss Denise, and this is my bi weekly show, Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best information on tips, tools, and information on homemaking. And with us is my sister from another mister, Miss Leona from Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And her channel is Life of a Home Cook. And we are actually two separate channels. And
Mm-hmm.
Miss Leona is on her way to 5K subscribers. That's 5,000 subscribers. So if you have not joined her YouTube community, please do that. Help her reach that YouTube milestone. And I'll share my big news with you guys is that I'm working on my water bath canning course. So many of you have asked questions about how to do water bath canning. So
Mm-hmm.
in 2 weeks, I hope to have my course go live, and it's called Yes You Can, a beginner's guide to water bath canning.
Mm-hmm.
So sign up on my email list
Mm-hmm.
so that you can get access to know when it goes live. So you can get signed up for that. All right. So we were talking about what survival mode looks like. And I know Miss Leona laughed when I said breakfast for dinner. And there's some things that we just don't get done the way we would like. You stop writing to-do lists and you're just trying to think about, okay, what do I have to get done now? Because the to-do
Mm-hmm.
list just feels like another form of pressure because you see all the things on the list and then you don't get to them. Maybe you just pick the messiest room and just shut the door. I've known people to do that. I have
That's
done it
true.
myself once upon a time. So, and you just don't have, because you're overwhelmed mentally, you
Mm-hmm.
can also lose capacity. You could just be exhausted at whatever it is that, you want to try to get to. So it's not about being lazy.
Mm-hmm.
You're just running out of energy. And where survival mode isn't honest, it's, where survival mode isn't pretty,
Mm-hmm.
it's honest
That's
because
right.
it's like it's where we are. It's where we are. So how do we bridge survival mode, Miss Leona? What do we do to help bridge that gap, to get out of survival mode and eventually get to where we can thrive? What do we need to do to get out of survival mode? Got any suggestions?
Well, for me, I did do this today. I sat down and just really made a checklist of those things that I know I need to do. And then that way I can pace myself because I think pacing, regardless of your age, regardless of where you are, as far as life is concerned, a checklist helps being able to write it down and to see what you need to do. And that also allows us to prioritize what's most important because usually those things that are most important are going to be those things that you see immediately
Mm-hmm.
those things that you need to do immediately. And that way, also, it gives you things that you can check off. And for me, that just gives me that. That kind of puffs me up because then I can see that I'm making progress. I need to be able to work through that progress, and so as all of us need to be positive in what we're doing because as we get more overwhelmed we tend not only to just be overwhelmed but then we also get down on ourselves
Yes.
and our emotions just kind of fall with it and
Mm-hmm.
so having a checklist it can be as simple as a little post-it note. It can
Yes.
even be something as big as a little card where you just it doesn't even have to be pretty. Just jot down whatever it is, if you got 5 things you need to do, and just check off as you do it. And you can see that.
Mhm.
And that helps tremendously in being able to keep going the next day.
I think you're right when you say that you can see what you've done. A checklist can be so helpful,
Hmm.
but if you're going to be overwhelmed by that checklist, only put 1 to 3 things on the
Hmm.
list. If
Hmm.
you're going to be overwhelmed by that, just 1 to 3 things on the list. And I know I have found myself with the checklist and moving some things off the list to the next day and then moving them again to the next day and then that next day. And then I realized I put too many things on the list.
Hmm.
I overwhelmed myself. So
Hmm.
when I am in overwhelm and
Hmm.
I need to get back on track, the
Hmm.
thing that works for me, the one small thing that works for me is I clean my kitchen.
Hmm. Hmm.
It may not get made, even though I typically will do that before I leave the room. If he's not in it, I'll go ahead and make it up.
Hmm.
But some days, if I'm completely overwhelmed,
Hmm.
I just go straight to the kitchen. And as long as the kitchen is clean,
Hmm.
I unload the dishwasher or load the dishwasher, whichever
Hmm.
it needs to be to happen. Wipe down my counters, wipe down my table. My kitchen is clean. I'm good. If you
Yeah.
come in my house and every room is a mess, but my kitchen is clean, I can invite you in and you can have a seat in a
Hmm.
space of calm. And I can offer you a cup of tea and we can be just
That's
fine
right.
in that space.
Hmm.
So that's my one small thing. So, what are you guys that are in the chat, or if you're on the replay, let us know what's your one small thing? What's that one thing that you do to get yourself back on track?
I think you're right with the kitchen, for most of us, because so much of the so much of life, home life, settles within the kitchen. And I don't know about, for me, just the process of wiping down the counters just kind of soothes me as I'm getting that done. And the smells, you try to make sure that whatever you're using is something that's pleasant, that you enjoy. And putting the dishes in, it's kind of a it's almost thoughtless situation of where you just kind of doing the things that you would normally do. But it does give you a chance to and then even you can sit down for a moment once you've done that and have a cup of coffee or some tea or whatever it may be, and just take a moment. And so it kind of brings you out of the cloud,
Yeah.
and that's what's nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being able to get out of that cloud, just being able to kind of just to breathe.
That's good.
Okay. So Sharina says that for her, oh Charlene, I can't even
Mhm,
read that. I should get my glasses on. She says that for her, the kitchen is her one small thing.
mhm,
And then Ola is saying that one should ask for help, do important things daily and the extras at other times, and then ask for help. So yeah.
mhm.
So Ola says that for her, it's been fight or flight her whole 52 years. And
Huh,
I'm sorry about that. It would
mhm,
be, I would hope you could get to a point where you could just kind of ease into some days, ease
mhm,
into some things, and not feel that stress of the fight or flight all the
mhm.
time, because that can be exhausting.
It is. It is. But some people have that personality. That's kind of their mode and their modus operandi. And so that'll be interesting to see. You'll have to let us know, Ola, if you've been doing that for that many years. Is that
Mhm.
just you, or is it that you've kind of gotten yourself into that I'll call it a habit of
Mhm.
being that in that, and you feel uncomfortable when you're not in that situation.
Okay, so Emma has just given us a little bit more information about her home situation. And she says her parents are wonderful people, but the
Mhm.
house has always been beyond messy. Can't
Mm,
get into rooms, they're so packed, there's mold, leaking batteries, etc., and just trying to find the floor. My suggestion would be First of all, work on the space where you and your husband are. You've
Mhm,
got to get that space an
mhm.
oasis. So I think, Leona, you mentioned it earlier that there's
Mhm.
got to be some private space for the two of them. So
Exactly.
that space is your bedroom. Start there. Make sure
Mhm,
that what you bring into the house, into that bedroom space, is as little as possible. Just try to
mhm,
be minimalist for that.
mhm.
And then next, I would go to, I don't even know, I don't know if I tried the kitchen or the bathroom, Leona. What are your thoughts? I was
Well, I not knowing the house, but I'm sure that there's a particular bathroom that you use,
thinking,
and so as you prepare your space for you and hubby, then of course whatever bathroom that you're using, make that also your space. Keep that portion as perfect as you can for the two of you, so
mhm,
that you always have your oasis. And because that's important for just for the two of you and your marriage. And then perhaps you can say, well, mom or dad, let's get together and let's work on this room. What can we do in this room to kind of help clear it out? And then just slowly start working one room at a time.
at a time.
And it may take forever, quite a while to get it all done, but just start in one place, because I'm sure that there are probably things in there that need to be thrown out. There's probably some things that need to be gifted to someone else, like to the Goodwill or wherever. And it just may be that your parents have gotten to that point where they may not even realize that they're in somewhat of an overwhelm mode as well, because they've gotten to that age where they're just too tired to deal with it, and so they let it stay, and it just kind of accumulates as things go by. So it would be very helpful for you to be able to start as a room and help them declutter
Yeah.
whatever it is.
And
Mm-hmm.
in those bathrooms that you were talking about, the bathroom that you and hubby use, if there are things in there you need to toss, toss. Because if the house is that cluttered, they probably won't even know what's
Never
in.
know.
And if you feel like, well, you know what, this belongs to my mom or dad, I really don't want to toss it, box it up
Mhm.
and put it out in the garage and label it
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that at least the space is usable, because
Mhm.
you don't want to create trouble between you and your husband because the house is not comfortable.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
And
I would think to move into the kitchen next, just because,
yes,
I
that's true.
I would prefer the kitchen. However, um, you got to be able to cook. You got to be able to put things away. So my thought would be the kitchen next, and
Mhm.
start doing some decluttering and cleaning in there. And mold can certainly be a health hazard.
Yes.
So that's something you definitely need to address, because
Mhm.
you don't want the two of you to get sick or your parents to get sick.
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
something else you guys are going to want to concerned about. Do you people in the chat have any suggestions for Emma? Because she's dealing with a lot,
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
overwhelmed. But Emma, you just have to do like Miss Leona suggested, make that checklist. And
Mhm.
number one is going to be the sleeping space, the private space
Mhm.
for you and hubby. And
That's
go
right.
from there.
When you close that door, that's your place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important, because it really is all about the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's about mom and dad as well,
Mm-hmm.
but they need their space, you need your space. And it may be that they may be, once they see your space and
Mm-hmm.
how nice it looks, they may get a little more energized. And so as you're working through your space, then as Miss Denise said, you're working in the kitchen and helping with, dinner or whatever. That's a great time to look at. I know my daughter and I do this, where we just start, mom, when was the last time you used this?
My daughter's.
And and she may say, well, I haven't used that forever. And so, well, I don't need it, so how about we donate this, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's someone else who could use it. Or
Would be a good way to approach it.
yeah, just trying to gently get a few things out. And as you're working through dinner or whatever it may be. And, I really believe that your mom and dad will be so thankful that you're doing this.
Yeah, and I wondered too, when you moved in with your mom and dad, I was at first thinking, well, that you're a young couple and you
Mhm,
just moved in, to save some money to buy your own house. But as we got to talking, I'm thinking it could be that your parents are getting older and they need a little bit more support. So you've
mhm,
moved in because of that. And
mhm,
if that's the case, it could be like Miss Leona said, they're just overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. Because I know when my parents in their last years in their house, they just had so much stuff in there,
mhm.
so much clutter that needed clearing out. And one of the things that I've learned that older adults do, and I'm starting to see this with my hubby, is that they will try to have everything that they need close by.
Mhm, mhm,
So be all around their chair or in one room so they can just go there and get it. So
mhm,
depending upon the reason for your moving in with your family, with your parents, is also going to determine how much you feel like you need to do while you're there too.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
poor Shoot has a little comment. She's been traveling, well, he or she, I'm not sure, has been traveling to see my dear mom a few times a year, a 3-day drive. Oh my
Oh,
goodness. 100 in October. How nice.
that's wonderful.
She's been downsizing her home and they're hauling stuff back and decided that if one thing, uh, I think we missed the rest of it.
Okay,
I'll try to find it. Wait, there it is.
okay.
And if one thing comes in, at least one thing has to go out.
That's
It's
good.
made me go over my own house and be more organized and clear stuff out. I pick one drawer or cupboard and redo it, and I don't feel so swamped. Now, I think, boom,
Absolutely,
a
absolutely.
great idea there. One
Mhm,
drawer, one cupboard, and redo it, and you don't feel so overwhelmed. So that could be the one thing too, especially if you're starting in the kitchen, Emma. You could say, okay, well, not once you get to the kitchen, because you
mhm,
may be starting somewhere else, but once you get to the kitchen, there's drawers in the kitchen, there's cabinets, so you can pick which area seems most pressing to you, and you and
mhm,
your mom could work on it together.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
don't care, have that, then honey, go to town.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
That's why I say, "Oh, you wanna do that?
mhm.
Go right ahead." Go right ahead. Oh, that's sweet.
Okay, wait a minute. She's explaining more. Emma says she's only lived with them. She just turned 25.
Okay,
Her husband moved in when they got married.
okay.
So we have the house and they have a back unit.
Oh,
Oh, that's
okay.
not too bad.
Okay, that's not bad at all. So,
No.
you can definitely I don't think moving anything out or
Mhm,
reorganizing would be an issue with them.
mhm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Take care of the space for you and hubby. And then
Mhm.
maybe when they see what you guys are doing, they may say, "Honey, could you help us out a little bit?"
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh,
Uh,
that sounds wonderful.
oh, somebody calling you a snowbird. They
No,
said vinegar is not poisonous, and that is true.
that's true. Yes, I am. I call myself the what do I call myself? I am the sunbird. And because I like the sun and the beach.
Mhm. Cynthia said,
Oh,
"Hello."
hello.
Uh, so Miss Hart says her sister always makes the bed first. The
Mhm.
house quickly feels tidier. And yes, I will usually make my bed first. But some days I will admit I have been so overwhelmed that I just laid there in that bed as long as I could. And then when I got up, it was all I could do to get dressed. And
Mhm.
when I did, I went to the kitchen to do whatever I didn't do the night before. It's like I'm going to go there first because if somebody walks in the door, the kitchen is where I'm going to take them to. I'm not bringing them upstairs to the bedroom. So
No.
I'll get the kitchen done and then I'll circle back to the bedroom when I start the laundry, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So typically making the bed is the first thing I will do. But I have suffered from depression. And when I did, making the bed was not on my list, but cleaning that
Mhm.
kitchen was.
Yeah.
Charlene likes lighting the candle or putting on a simmer pot. Oh, I like that
Mm,
idea.
I like that. Hmm.
Hmm.
I love that simmer pot.
Um, Molly making the bed, loves knowing that she's not alone, getting things done or not. No, let us just say this.
Mhm.
None of you people are alone. None of you ladies or you gents that are here with us tonight. That's why I'm saying you people, because we got gents and ladies.
Mhm.
We're not alone. You are not alone. We have all been there. If we're not in the messy middle now, we've been there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it can happen so quickly.
Hmm. So Kimberly says she needs a clean kitchen. Her kids are all grown,
Okay.
but she still remembers kitchen talk when they would sit around the table and solve whatever issue they were dealing with at the moment, have dinner as a family, do homework at the kitchen table, chat. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
So Stephanie says trying to keep the family room clean is
Oh,
her thing.
the
So
one
you
little thing.
know, Stephanie, is your husband in the family room a lot? Because I know your husband has some health issues.
Mhm.
And somebody else was it Bathsheba. Her husband has some health issues in
Mhm.
a wheelchair.
Mhm.
And so they might be in that space. And so yeah, I can see that.
Mhm.
Uh Cynthia says coffee. The answer to getting started on a good reset is coffee and not just the little. She needs probably 2 or 3 cups. Okay, I ain't mad at you.
Oh.
Oh, Stephanie says this has been her week to be in the middle. So dealing
Um,
with things with her father and then her husband has been overwhelming.
mhm.
Stephanie's father has some health challenges and her
Mhm.
mother is now gone. So when
Mhm.
her mom was alive, she was caring for her father and her mother. So now it's her father
Mhm.
and her husband's been experiencing some health challenges as well. So,
Mhm.
Stephanie, oh, you need a
So
prayer.
sorry. Absolutely. We will definitely keep you in our prayers
Mhm,
because that is tough. And
mhm,
I know she was racing back and forth when
mhm.
mom was sick.
Yeah.
So, wow. Mm.
Oh, so Charlene likes putting on instrumental music or seasonal scenery helps her so much. And it also gets to start in the kitchen if she needs to take a break. Take a
Mhm.
break, take a minute, and then go back to that task. Okay.
Mhm.
Do much with music. I used to.
Mhm.
When I was going through depression, I
Mhm.
played music all the time, but it was certain kinds of music by certain authors or certain
Mhm.
artists. But I
Okay.
usually will read. So I'll put in a book on Audible or on my
Mhm.
Kindle. I'll put a book in and I'll listen to that while I'm working. I could be chopping, stirring, or just
Mhm.
cleaning up, folding laundry. But that helps me relax too.
Yeah, I'm a music girl. I like that music.
Hazel clears off her bedside table, have a nice beverage or tea, and
Mm.
then journal. That helps her to relax and reset. And these are one small things,
Mhm.
one small thing that can help you. And you notice each of us has something that's a little bit different.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, this is a nice comment. Thank you, Emma. You are quite
Aw,
welcome.
that's sweet.
Oh, Cynthia says, please wear disposable gloves and a
Mhm.
dust mask when you get to the worst of the mess. Get plenty of
Mhm.
garbage bags
Mhm.
for sorting. Yeah, garbage, regifting, or donating. And you want to have dark garbage bags. So when
Mhm.
you put those things in the garbage bag, your folks can't see what's in them, so they won't come and take it out. But
That's true.
and
That's
if
true.
there's mold, the mask and the disposable gloves are going to be important too. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that, Cynthia.
Yeah. And a good thing about regifting or donating is that once you get a box full, take it that day.
Hmm.
Don't let it sit because invariably you'll start to say, well, maybe I shouldn't take this, and you'll take it out. And so that way it's out of the house smoothly.
Now, Kimberly says her husband is the same because I mentioned mine was starting to do that too.
Mhm.
Salt, pepper, eye drops, remote control, all on a snack table in front of him. That's
Mhm.
what snack table in front of his lounger, and all kind of crafting things, little X-Acto knives and remote control and
Mhm.
headphones and I don't know,
Yep,
paintbrushes, all kind of stuff. And Sweet Tea says the
the
same.
same. Oh goodness.
So
It
now
must.
this one, Charlene feels your pain. They're going out
Yes.
soon, and getting the house together before they leave has been overwhelming. Any
Mhm.
suggestions?
Yes. Well, let me tell you, you do want to do as much as you can. And where I really focus the most is on I know the door that I'm going to enter when I come back. And that is the place that I want clean. So for me, that's to walk into the kitchen.
Mhm.
And so I made sure before I left that that kitchen was spotless so that when I come back into it, I'm walking into a spotless kitchen. Now the rest of the house is straight, but the kitchen, I put a little extra elbow grease on. And that helps because when you're thinking, if you leave it a mess, you're thinking about that mess and you dread opening the door. So
Mhm.
it's always nice to have at least that room to walk into and go home, when you come back. And so just do as much as you can, but like I said, focus on the room that you'll see first.
And a checklist would be good too. That way you don't forget anything. Like part of the checklist could be check the freezer.
Absolutely.
But
Holy
yeah,
moly.
do a checklist, before you
Mhm,
go. And I know for me, I don't know why it's so silly. If I have library books, I have to return the library books before I leave to go on vacation.
mhm.
If I'm going for a week, if I'm going for 2 weeks and the books aren't due for a month, those books have got to go back to the library before I leave. I don't know
Me
why.
too.
That's just how I am.
Yeah.
Stephanie is filling us in on, she said her husband is in the family room a lot and
Mm,
his wheelchair needs room. And then
mm.
his father's house was hit by lightning and at night,
Oh no.
and so some things had to be replaced. Yeah, last week there were some storms and blue
Mhm.
skies, and her addition, they were out of power for a couple of hours. We didn't have any trouble over here, but
Uh-huh.
different grids were out of power. So
Mhm.
we thought they were just here in the Midwest, but I guess they got down there to Texas.
Yep. Texas got hit pretty hard with the
Yes,
lightning.
her father's house was hit by lightning. Well, I hope
Mhm.
you can get things sorted out. I don't know what kind of insurance you guys have, but that
Mhm.
should help. So I would definitely give them a call and see what they can do for you.
Mhm. Now Stephanie's gone on. If you look down a little further, she's gone on
Oh,
to give us a little more.
oh, your husband's having a heart procedure on Monday and
Oh,
father a procedure on his leg on Tuesday.
oh my goodness.
For her husband had failed, so now he's told he needs a heart and kidney transplant. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Hmm. Well,
Oh,
you have our prayers. We'll give
absolutely.
you a call to think about that. Leona, would you mind praying? Because we've had a couple people
Not.
that like need some prayer tonight.
Absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, oh my goodness. We're just so grateful that we know all the time that you are right there, that we can touch and connect with you. And Lord, we're thankful for not only being able to come together one to one, but as a group, because we know that we're two or more gathered together in your name, that it is done. And tonight we lift up Stephanie and her situation with her husband and her family. Lord, we pray that you will certainly take care of both of them as they prepare for their procedures, that the procedures will go smoothly, and that all the hands that touch them will be hands that you have provided. Lord, we also include in our thoughts tonight Emma, who is going through some transition. We think of Kimberly, who's going through transition, and those who perhaps have not necessarily said what their particular situations are. But Lord, we pray for each of them that you will give us the strength, because that seems to be, we keep coming back to that word strength, and
Mhm.
we obviously need that strength. Lord, we thank you in advance for what you are going to do. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hate to put you on the spot, but
That's okay.
you do such a nice job at praying I just felt like our community needed that tonight. So
Yes.
thank
Yes.
okay. Let's see. So yes, so Charlene's saying prayers and
Mm,
everybody's we're seeing praying hands where people are praying with us.
absolutely.
So thank you guys.
Thank you, Kimberly. Amen.
Yes. So yes. Thank you.
Mm.
Okay. So now let me see if I missed anything.
Well, Ola shared with us that she's a cleaning lady.
Oh wait, where's
And
oh
she uh, she's been cleaning for quite a few years. Up above, you see where.
oh
Mhm. Wow,
okay.
bless your heart.
Sometimes I wish I had a cleaning lady.
I know this would be an experience, but it's one that I think I'm going to fall right into and like.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we've talked about, what it's like being in the messy middle. We
Mm,
talked about going through survival mode. We talked about the one small thing that can help us get through that. And for each one of us, it's just a little bit different, but it
mm,
does give us a little bit of traction when we feel stuck. And I think I mentioned on your show that
mm,
that's how the Fly Lady cleaning system came
mm,
about. From
mhm,
what I understand, she
mhm,
was struggling with crippling depression, and
mhm,
her therapist said, then just do one thing every day. Just wash your face. And she started out with just one little item. And then
mhm.
she built $1 million business, I'm sure. Well, I don't know if it's
Absolutely.
$1 million, but she built a very important business that has been
Mm,
helpful to so many other people.
she
So
has.
just that one small thing. So wherever you are tonight, if you're in the middle, you're in the mess, you're in the middle, or you still just trying to make it through,
Mhm,
remember that one small thing is
mhm,
enough. Just one small thing can just, really make things go better. Just one small
mhm.
thing.
That's true.
And something could be unfinished, but still moving. And
Mhm,
we're just trying to make progress and not be perfect. So again, I'm gonna tell all of you out there,
mhm,
take the S off your chest. We're looking for progress, not perfection, and
mhm,
just showing up each day, just holding it down, holding it together with one small win, one small step. So, just so you know, one more time, Miss Leona is on her way to 5K. If you've not joined her community, please go over to her channel and do that. And you know what? I'll put it in the description box too, so people can just click on it. I
Okay.
haven't really outfitted the description box today yet, so I'll do that. And again, just a reminder that I'm going to be offering my Yes You Can, a beginner's guide to water bath canning in 2 weeks. So sign up on my newsletter. And then when you're on my email list, which signing up for the newsletter will put you on the email list,
Mhm.
and I'll send out to the email list to let people know that it's ready, so you can sign up for that if you're so inclined. Because I've gotten several questions about canning, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm doing that. So again, whether you are wherever you are tonight, whether you're running on empty or just getting by, I want to remind you that being in the messy middle is not failure. It's just a season, so give yourself grace. And I think, Miss Leona, you explained that very carefully or very succinctly when you said it can be a week, it can
Mhm.
be a month, it can last longer. So, what else do you want to add to that as we wrap things up?
Well, and also, I just want to say that sometimes being in the messy middle makes us feel like uh, we're chaotic, that is pure chaos. But
Mhm.
sometimes when we're in the middle of the mess, we're trying to find that perfect spot. We
Mhm.
don't know that that's what we're looking for, but I guess it comes back to I think I'm thinking more religiously, and sometimes we go through rough spots, and we're wondering, why are we here? But there's a reason why we are in that messy middle, because sometimes it gives you a chance to find where you really need to go. And
Mhm.
so, for instance, with Emma, she was talking about she needed, things were a little messy. Yes, it's messy. But at this point, now you've got a goal. You know where you need to go. And I encourage each of you, you may not be in the messy middle today.
Today.
And Monday, I wasn't in the messy middle. But, but yesterday I was there. And this part of today, I was there. But it helped me. And typically when we're in the messy middle, that's where we're growing.
Yes.
We find the most growth when
Mhm.
we're in that messy middle. And so write it out, because you will come to a pleasant end where
Yeah.
you are successful. And so I encourage you to just stay positive, slush through it, and stay and be honest with yourself. Those
Yeah.
things you can do, and those things you can't do, delegate.
Or let them go.
Absolutely.
And here's one other thing I want to add to that, because I really appreciate your eloquence in bringing all this together. But let me just add one more thing.
Mhm.
Homemaking is not a destination. It's
No,
a journey. It's not like you're going to get there and it's done. I've
no.
been keeping house for more than 52 years. I had to think for a minute. I've been keeping house for more than 52 years, and it's
Mhm.
still a work in process. I
Mhm.
was in this office today. I had stuff everywhere. So I had to straighten some things up before we could get on the show tonight.
Mhm.
When I was down in the kitchen, I was doing some filming, and my kitchen was straight, as Miss Leona says. My kitchen was straight. When my husband came in from fishing today, the kitchen was straight.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like one room was okay, but another room was at sixes and sevens. So
Mhm.
it's like life is not a destination, it's a journey. There, we're going to have ups and downs and
That's right.
hills and valleys, and we're going to be at sixes and sevens from time to time, and then sometimes
Mhm.
we're going to be straight.
That's
But we
right.
just have to say a prayer and keep it moving, one
Mhm.
foot in front of the other.
That's right.
So, I didn't mean to say all of that, so now I'm gonna come back to you now. You got the last word.
Well, the last word is that thank all of you for being with us tonight. We are just it excites us every time that we see you, and it's fun for us to be together. And I am just thankful to all of you. I am thankful to those of you who have joined Ebony, Ivy, and Time with Leona. And we're on our way to 5,000. I was telling Miss Denise I've got a goal of 100 subscribers per month, and we're clicking it off every month. And so I'm thankful, and I thank each of you. So Miss Denise, it's that time.
It is that time. We will see you guys next time. Next same time, different station.
Different
Bye.
station. All right.